Welcome back to Vault Hunters. Today I want to add another build to my base area here. And I think it's going to be a blacksmith workshop area where I can house my create mod stuff. Or at least the basics. There's a few basic components in the create mod that you use pretty consistently and you need them to make other more complex contraptions. So I like to set myself up a little area where I have access to all those basic components, and that's what the blacksmith building is going to be. I also think I might move the forge stuff, the tools and armor, into the blacksmith because that's where it goes, right? I am going with the same palette as these two other builds, and I'm also going to align it with the center of the storage system so that I can make sure everything is all hooked up. Alright, the first thing I need to do is a little bit of terraforming, get this space flattened out. I want to put a little hill here, give myself a nice canvas to work on. I want to start approaching my builds with sightlines a little bit more in mind. So if I stand over here where I do want to build a bridge over this river, I can look at the entire base and hopefully, yep, just like that. We'll have the blacksmith over here on the right side and have it kind of opening up facing towards the bridge. So this little bit here in the front will be the blacksmith portion of the build. This is going to be a little bit more open. I think that the floor is going to stay ground level here. And then there's going to be a forge on the inside, big stone chimney coming out between the two sides of the build. And then this big side over here is going to be the create workshop. And that's going to be 2 stories tall. And that should be enough space for me to have some basic create components and a little bit of space for some storage as well. I'm just going to start laying the foundation for the build now. And as I did with the other two, it is a mixture of different cobblestone variants. So pretty basic palette, but a little bit of variation to spice things up. And like I said, over here in the blacksmith portion, I have a nice little opening, and that is going to stay at ground level. Where over here, this is going to have the floor raised up a couple of blocks to where the foundation is. Then I can make a little spot right here up front where we will have some stairs coming up to get into the house. And then I think I can extend that to the doorway into the blacksmith shop. Yeah, it's a nice big open door with some stairs on the corners, give a little archway to it. Perfect. I'm going to leave the blacksmith open for now so I can build the main workshop, and then that way I can figure out how high the roof needs to go on the side piece here. I mentioned in the other videos I am using cut diorite and layered diorite. It is part of create mod. Just a nice little bit of a softer tone to the diorite, not such harsh speckles inside of it. I want to go 5 blocks high for the first floor, and then a layer of dark oak. This is where the floor of the second story will go, and it also just gives me a little bit of a visual marker on where I can build off of. Eventually I'll end up putting some bands around it on the outside during the detailing phase, but that'll come a little bit later. Gotta toss in the floor on the second level and another 5 layers for the second level. The roof is only going to come down a couple blocks from the top, so it looks like I got a good amount of space between the roof of the blacksmith and the main build. Go ahead and start with 3 blocks, making it a 5 block tall room. Yeah, that only comes up to the top of the doorway, so I think I'm gonna go up 2 more blocks. And that'll make me even with the other side of the build. I'll wrap that with logs as well. Okay, now it's really starting to take shape, and I think I like the way it's looking. This might be a little bit wide, but I think any thinner, and I don't feel like I'd have enough space on the inside for all the create components and a little storage space. Okay, now I can start wrapping the foundation with logs as well, adding a little bit more depth to the build. I think I'm gonna pop out this doorway another block. Maybe I'll do another one on the inside too. And it's a little bit thick. I do like the way it comes out on each side. Maybe if I just recess this back. Oh, I kind of like the way that looks. I don't really like the way those blocks look there. Maybe some spruce trap doors will look better. Yeah, I think that looks much better. What about the top? Does that look okay? I think that's fine. All right, the foundation is all put in place. The basic structure is all set. I think I should probably go ahead and start on the roof. All right, and I'm gonna go for the same tapering design on the roof. You can see on the other builds here, the way it tapers going up this way, and then it also tapers going out. So I do that by going with a few stairs, and then I think maybe one more is good. Yeah. And then when I want to increase the size of each step, I'll go out a block, and then up a block, and then start stacking that way with an additional block in between each stair set. Does that make sense? Kind of hard to describe how to do this, but it looks cool. I think that looks like a pretty good taper. Now I just got to do it to the other side and then fill in the rest with a cha-cha and then fill in the holes. All right, the silhouette is starting to come together. All that really needs to happen now is the roof on the blacksmith, and then I can start moving into detailing. I think I can probably bring this back row up about 2 more blocks, and that'll give me a little bit of space for the top of the roof here as it extends down. It's starting to come together, but I don't know if I really like this doorway. It just looks a little bit weird, kind of smashed into the stairs here, and it's just kind of awkward on this outside. I know I would end up putting something here in the corner, kind of support it a little bit more, but it just still looks weird. There we go. It looks a bit better. Roof is still a little bit wonky, but I don't really think there's much I can do about that. I tried a couple different designs, but I think it looks fine. All right, now we need to get the timber frames into the bottom layer of the diorite wall. All right, and I think I can use vertical slabs for the bands. I don't think I have quite enough space to use logs on everything, so the vertical slabs will come nice and handy. Yeah, I think that looks good. Okay, now I'm gonna start throwing a couple windows in there. All right, I think that looks pretty good. And I can add a little bit of lattice for some detailing. All right, I think the exterior is all finished, at least for now. I might end up putting in some more stuff later on, just passively as I go, but I'm pretty happy with how it's turned out. And now I can move on to building the workshop inside. Now that I have the outside of the build pretty much done, I can start working on the interior. Before I start decorating, I'm going to start on the workshop first. That way I don't have decorations in the way when I'm trying to put components in, and I can figure out exactly where I want everything, and then I can make it all look a little bit better. And I do need something to make rotational power so I can make all the components work, and I think I'm going to use a water wheel for that. And I do want it coming in underneath the floors, so I'm going to go out this way, and then there's going to be a little water wheel housing here, and then it's going to come out onto the track. Wheel housing doesn't have to be anything crazy. I'm just going to use the same block palette as the foundation. Alright, I like that. It's a nice little tiny version of the build. I'm going to need a large water wheel, which does take a pog. It's not too bad though. And 2 regular water wheels with some driftwood. And I'm not totally sure how large this is. Don't know if I'm going to have to lower it down a little bit. I might need to go down another block here. Okay, yeah, so it looks like I need to bring it down just a little bit off of the wall here. That's totally fine. Take off just a couple blocks here. And it actually looks like I can put this plating right back on top. Go up with a gearbox and another one. And then I can run those shafts right underneath the floor. I'm gonna send the shaft straight down the middle of the floor. Okay, now I need to get some water running onto this wheel to get the power moving. There's a couple of different ways that water wheels work in real life, and one of the main ways is an aqueduct. So that's what I'm going to go for. All right, I've got the water pipe installed. Now I can start feeding the water down onto the wheel, and we have rotation. Usually the water supply would be coming from somewhere a little bit higher than the water wheel, maybe dammed off into a specific area, but water is only one level in Minecraft, so can't really do that. So I made this contraption, and it works by, and as you can see, the water is coming up and over the wheel and pushing the wheel forward. This is what we call forward rotation because it's going forward. And to check the stress units coming from the water wheel, I need the engineer's goggles, and that'll let me know exactly how much I can connect to the wheel at one time. 512 stress units really isn't that much, but I really don't have that much to hook up to it. So I'm gonna go ahead and see what I can get hooked up for now. And if I have to connect another one of them, I'll just double the size of this. But this is really just a build to be the basic create stuff. I only really need a few components hooked up in there, and I want to have an inventory system hooked up to my main storage system. So I don't think it's really gonna be a problem. And if I do need another water wheel, I might do it out here, or maybe I'll just connect some underneath the floor in the front or something. I do have space underneath the build, so I could always hide something underneath there. I already have most of the basic components that I want to set up in here, but I do need a couple more things like encased fans, and to make those I need propellers, and to make those I need iron sheets. And this is why I need a workshop. Somewhere where I can have all this stuff hooked up automatically and I don't have to use a hand crank for it. Get a couple propellers and I can turn those into a couple of fans. And I also need... Okay, I'm realizing there's really not very much basic stuff I need. It's just a couple of components. I'm pretty sure all I really need is the deployer, the press, the crushing wheels, encased fans, and a mechanical mixer, along with a couple components to make them all work. I'm going to want the crushing wheels off here in the corner, but I'm going to need a staircase over here on the right side first. Alright, it's not the prettiest thing I've ever done, but it's something. Alright, so here's how this is going to work. Once the items go down into the crushing wheel, they'll be blown over into the chute and then blown up into the output chest right here. The whole system isn't very fast, but it works and automatically outputs the items right into a chest, so that's really nice. Now I can throw a couple pieces of cobble in there and it'll output the gravel right into the chest. It's a simple enough contraption. I don't really use the crushing wheels very much. A little bit more of a passive thing that I let run while I go do something else. Okay, next up is the deployers. I want to have 4 deployers total in here, 3 of them in a line for precision mechanisms, and then 1 on its own for just individual tasks. Just hook those up with a couple of shafts, and then I'll need a belt underneath these 3 as well. Alright, it's not very pretty, but this is what I've come up with. So all I have to do is put a gold sheet on, and then the first one is full of cogwheels, the second one has large cogwheels, and the third one has iron nuggets. The gold sheet will come along and have each one applied to it, and then this filter is going to be set to a finished precision mechanism, where this one underneath will be set to an unfinished one. It'll then be taken across the belt down below and then pushed into the chute and blown up by the fan back onto the belt until it is finished and dumped into the barrel below. I honestly have no idea if this is gonna work. I think it is. From the mechanics I understand, that's how it works. So I just need to make a precision mechanism and set the filters along the way so that I have one filter unfinished and one finished. And I'm actually just gonna throw the gold sheet right on there to see if everything works right. Looks good so far. It's moving so slow, but it is working. And then that should just go into the chute because, oh, actually no, it's gonna go down below. That's right. That is perfect. Let's see if the fan works too. What? Oh no. Oh no. I think I gotta just move all of this down 1 block. That should fix it. And I'll go ahead and set the filter down here. Throw that back on the bottom belt. And hopefully, any luck, it goes right into there. Come on. What? What? Why? Why is this not working? Okay, let's see if this works. I replaced the bottom belt with just a fan to push the items. That's how I did it on the grind wheels, the crushing wheels. So hopefully it should work the same, right? We'll stop at each part of the contraption, get the item put onto it. It should then be taken down into the filter. Perfect. And pushed along into the chute. God, it's moving so slow. I definitely need to speed up everything in this building, so I might need to add a couple more water wheels. Alright, it goes into the chute. Wait just a minute to see if it comes out the top. Alright, sweet. It's perfect. It's working. And now once it's finished, I should be able to just set this one to a finished mechanism, and then that'll output into the barrel down below. Oh my god, this is so slow. Alright, there we go. Got a complete one. And it should just go into the barrel all on its own. That won't quite set the filter. There we go. Now, whenever it goes, it'll pass over the first one and go into the second. Awesome. So, oh, that's so nice. It's such a good feeling to finish a technical project like this, or have it work. I mean, it's not quite finished. I still need to put the floor back in place, but you know what I mean. To have it actually work. Now I can go ahead and put back all the flooring. I'm going to need a stair right here so that I can access the barrel. Okay, that system is all up and running. The deployers are all set. Now I can pretty much completely automatically make precision mechanisms. It's so much nicer than doing them all by hand. So the stressometer says I have 352 stress units left, and I'm only using 31% so far. That's not a whole lot, but I know that I'm going to want more, and if I double the speed, then that's just going to double the stress units. So I definitely need a little more power. I'm going to throw in a couple more water wheels. Okay, without the extra water wheels, it is going at 4 RPM with 512 total stress units. And then with 3 extra water wheels, it is going at 8 RPM with 896 total stress units. And that's still going to be low capacity, only 35% used, but at double speed. Let's see how this feels now. That's not too slow. It definitely could be faster, but not bad. Alright, I'll just let that run. If I really need to, I can add a speed controller to some of the contraptions too. Alright, and with the second big water wheel on the back, that makes 1,400 total stress units, giving us only 22% used. And if that's the case, I think I do want to make a rotation speed controller. And it's going to take a pog. That is fine by me because it's going to be a big upgrade to the workshop. Okay, it's going to input that way and then output through the big cogwheel. And then I'll use a gearbox and a couple of chain drives to hook it all up. Look, everything's running backwards. Gotta switch it to the other side. And there we go. Things are running the right way now. Double check the stress and the speed. We're at 8 RPM and still 22 capacity. Perfect. So I feel comfortable going up to at least 16 RPM. There we go. That is moving much faster now. 4 times the original speed. And that makes 45% of the capacity used, leaving me plenty of space to work with. Okay, I'm pretty happy with the deployer system. Moving on to the press. Okay, this is going to be a lot simpler. Just a few mechanical presses on the wall, some depots below them, and I can just hook those straight to the deployers to give them power. And now I can squash 3 different things if I need to. Oh, that's not too bad. That's not too slow. That's good. It just kind of started slow, so I was like, oh, I don't know about I think it's good. I think it's good. That was so nice to just put those down like that after dealing with all this. This took me a decent little bit of time to figure out how to make it work, so being able to just throw them down, that's nice. I like that. Pretty much just as simple for the mixers, except I'll need a couple blaze burners underneath. There we go, another component down. This way I can mix 3 different things at once. Usually I'm just mixing up some brass, but even if I just have 3 different batches going at once, that still saves me a bunch of time. After adding the presses and the mixers, I am now using 86% of my available stress. And that's still at 16 RPM. That's all right, because all I have left to make is a washing station and a haunting station. As far as blasting and smoking goes, I don't think I need those. I have the fancy furnace for that. All I need for a haunting station is to have an encased fan blowing through some soul fire. And for the washing station, I just need to have it blow through some water. And it looks like I can just do the haunting straight through a soul campfire. I don't actually need the fire on a block. And since I was able to fit everything else down here on the first floor, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and stick these fans right underneath the stairs. Okay, there we go. Pressure plate works. Let's try it with a piece of sand. It's just gonna blow it back at me. Okay, I'll need some bars on the top here then. There we go. I think that works. Now I just gotta hook the fans up to the power source and we'll be good to go. Get that connected and see if it is blowing the right direction. Yep. Like it's good to go. Why isn't that one on though? Oh, I'm so dumb. Yeah, I'm just gonna replace the pressure plate with a shaft. And now all I gotta do is throw some items behind the trapdoors and they will be either haunted or washed. Oh, it is kind of annoying getting pushed around, but there we go. Turn into a different thing. Sand into soul sand. This is really not like the best solution, but it's good for now. It'll be enough. Like I won't be doing any more than like a stack of items in here at any given time, I'm sure. If I do need bigger haunting or washing stations, I'll end up building like some more industrial big factory version of it. In fact, I do have plans to build some sort of big create thing. I don't know what it's going to be. Definitely some trains. I want to build a factory just like play with create stuff. Today, I think I'm pretty much finished with actual technical create stuff. Let me see how much stress we've used. 90%. Okay, that's great. I do kind of want things to be faster, but it's fine. It's just the workshop. I'm pretty happy with how the workshop is turning out. I feel like I have access to all of the components that I need, at least all of the basics. And now I can start doing a little bit of decorating. It's not going to be anything crazy. This build is definitely meant to be more of an industrial, functional build. Pretty on the outside, functional on the inside. But that doesn't mean I can't spruce it up a little bit. Alright, now that I've got all of the create mod stuff put in, I want to get a small storage system in here. I want to connect it to my main storage system and have all of the items import straight into drawers upstairs. I need to figure out exactly where I want to put it up here, probably just up against one of these walls. But I'm going to use exporters going from my main storage system in the big house to export all of the create items into individual drawers. That way I have a visual representation and can just look at them and see all of the create components that I have. It's not totally necessary. Actually, it's kind of redundant, but I think it'll look nice. It'll be nice to have just easy access to that and not have to search through the computer system. And drawers only cost 2 research points, so that's great. And I do still have plenty of knowledge, so not a worry at all. Chomp those down and unlock the mod. Each drawer is pretty cheap. It's just 4 chromatic iron and 4 driftwood with a log, so I can definitely make as many as I need. And I feel like I'm gonna want a lot because there's a lot of items in create. I don't need every single item, but there's a lot of individual components to a lot of different pieces that I would want a drawer for. Luckily, the drawers come in 2x2, so I can fit 4 different items into one block, and that'll make it a whole lot easier. I think I'm just gonna stack the drawers in the corner here and have them sort of go down a little bit on the edges, have some individuals on the side, and then we'll need some trim in the actual corner, and then similarly go the other way. And you know, they kind of look like lock boxes in a bank vault, and I think that'd be kind of a cool build to do. I'm obviously not going to do that here, but maybe in one of the villages or something later on. Now the drawer controller needs to be touching the system, and I can input all of the items directly through that one block, and it'll automatically sort them all into the different drawers. First, I got to actually put on what goes where. So yeah, give me a minute. Okay, I've got most of the components that I'll need from the create mod put into drawers. There's still some that I need to put in there. Some of them won't actually go into the drawers. There's some config issues. And then some of them cost just a lot of material. So I'm not building them just to put the filter onto the drawer right now. Next, I need to put the computer system. So I want to run my refined storage system into here. I'm going to put the computer right next to the drawer controller, and then I will run the cables straight through the walls from the main system line in the middle of the base. So the grid will be just connected by a cable, and yep, there's the power. And I think if I just put an importer onto it next to it, it should start putting items in. Yes, no, I don't think it did it. Put those in there. Will they start showing up? Nope, not even a little bit. Crap. What if I put a filter in there? Then will it work? Oh, yep, there it goes. Perfect. It does work with the filter. Is there a way for me to upgrade this to have more slots? Because that's definitely not enough. Okay, now I'm being stupid. I think an external storage unit will be the way to do this. And now I think if I just put that onto the controller, I'm going to have to set the priority, I think, to -10. Will work. And then the priority on my disk drive will be set to 0. Now if I take some andesite casings and put them in there, are they gonna go into here? No, they're there. How do I make this work? Maybe if I set the priority to +10? Yep, that's perfect. That worked. Awesome. Sweet. Okay, I finally understand the priority on refined storage. My main storage system is set to 0. So if I want my items to go into a storage system before the disk drive, I go with a higher number, and if I want it to go after the disk drive, I do a lower number. For example, I want all of the items in Create to go into the storage drawers via the controller first, before going into the disk drive. So I set the priority to +10. Now, when I take the items and put them into the refined storage system, they're going to go right back into the drawers first instead of the disk drive. Okay, sweet. I feel accomplished with this. It's taking me a little bit of time to figure out, but I finally was able to put it together, and that always feels great. Now I can just get these walls covered. Oh, what? Really? I can't put a cover on that? For some reason, I can't put the cover on the external storage. So I'm just going to use a lattice for that. We'll put a couple others around here to blend it in. There you go. That looks good. Now, I just need to do a little bit of decoration to spruce this place up. And there we go. Things are looking a whole lot nicer in here now. I definitely think the second floor looks the nicest by far. We've got some fancy item frames up. We've got a little scuba suit, small little work desk with the clipboard, and of course all the drawers with the clock on top. As for the downstairs, it's definitely not quite as pretty, but you know, it's fine. It's kind of like a messy workshop. I got a windmill pane and a wrench on the table like it's being made, and I've got my full create suit in the corner here. And I've also put up some hazard signs around the crushing wheels because that spot's dangerous. As for the blacksmith outside, I did move all of my forge tools out here so I can do all of my armor crafting and my tool crafting out here in the blacksmith, and then put the forge right into the fireplace. I feel like this is a much more fitting spot than just the basement of the house. Like, it makes a lot more sense. I got a little chimney going up too. Yeah, it's nice. So now I can do all of my tools and armor straight from the blacksmith. I can do any basic create stuff with my presses, the mixers, the ployers, and the crushing wheels. I can also do washing and haunting down here. And then all of my create materials are stored up here in the top. I feel like I was pretty successful with this project, so I'm feeling pretty happy with it. And the picture from the bridge is really starting to come together. I'm pretty happy with how it's looking. There's definitely a few more pieces that I'm looking forward to putting in, but that's going to have to come in later down the line. And finishing this project has put us over the 1,000 day mark. I am now at day 1062. So in the next episode, I think I'm going to be doing a 1,000 day special. It'll be a nice little recap video of the last 1,000 days. I'm going to run some vaults and just kind of give my thoughts on things moving forward. So make sure to look out for that one because it's going to be a fun episode. All right, thanks so much for watching, guys. I will see you next time.